Hello, everybody. Welcome to the True Life News Show. Today, guys, Donald Trump and Elon Musk are the GOATs. Everything that we voted for, everything that we wanted, you are about to see today, guys. We have accountability. We have America being put first. We have increases for our seniors on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. All this is exactly what we voted for. The good news, everyone, is it all stems back to now what's happening in Congress, which we got all the receipts to show you today, guys. I'm telling you. Get ready, we have a show. The Biden cover-up investigation is going down now in Congress, and it's not looking good for the Democrats, for the Biden administration. Congress is actively working to reverse spending. Listen, reverse spending that the Biden administration completed while Biden was in office. Wasteful spending that is now being pulled back, reversed. The jobs that were supposedly had during the Biden administration are fake. Another 400,000 were fake. So now they're reevaluating all the numbers for Social Security. Social Security increases, Medicare, Medicaid, and guess what? Next year, Social Security is about to see a huge boost because of all the fake numbers for the economy that came from the Biden administration. Congress literally had a hearing and no Democrat showed up, guys. This is how bad it is. Not one single Democrat showed up to talk about the Biden mental decline. And now that we have people testifying, whistleblowers testifying, guys, this is huge. We are winning as America because we're uncovering all the fraud and we're finding out that, hey, guess what? We've got to actually reduce some of the numbers. And guess what? Our seniors are going to be winning, guys. This is what I love. This is putting America first, and it gets even worse for the Democrats. The DNC right now, guys, is broke. They just announced they're broke. They're out of cash. They're desperate. Elon Musk stated that the DNC was funded by USAID and other fake NGOs, and now they are shut down. The money has dried up for the Democrats, and all we're looking at is Elon Musk, Donald Trump, promises made, promises kept to bring to light the corruption that has been happening in the United States. And guys, if you think that it stops there, listen to this. You think, why does these Democrat governors hate America, putting America first so much? Listen to this. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul has announced the state of New York will pay $50 million of taxpayer using taxpayer funds to pay for lawyers' fees for migrants, for illegal migrants that have been caught by ICE. At every single step, guys, we are finding that the Democrats do not want to be held accountable. They don't want to show up for the Biden mental decline hearings. They want to spend millions and millions of dollars on illegal migrants. We found out that all the DNC is broke because we shut down USAID. Nobody wants to give them any money. They're big liars, guys. Literally, the Democratic regime is falling as we speak. America is moving forward under Donald Trump's presidency. All the polls coming out show him with over a 54% approval rating. We are winning, guys. New bills are being passed. Guys, this is huge. New bills are being passed to reverse the Biden spending because the numbers were all wrong. And guess what? Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all these are about to get a huge boost, a big COLA boost in the reevaluation of all these numbers with all the new evidence that we have unearthed, guys. This is huge. I love it. So much breaking news to get into today, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is huge. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. We truly are grateful that you support us every day by watching. Want to give some love to all those guys. Even if you're not subscribed, we still love you, but we want you to hit that subscribe button, join the True Life News family, and hop on board because we are bringing the receipts and we're bringing the truth, guys. This is huge. We are living in history right now. Want to give some love to our members of the channel and to everybody that gives a super chat donation. I want to give some special love to Grandma Bonnie Morris, Luis Thomas, Gary Panet, Mr. Tracy J. Norby. Guys, show them some love in the chat. And Robert Stearns, welcome to the family. if you don't mind doing us a huge favor, guys, of hitting that thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. Today is a big, big day. Everything that I'm telling you this, guys, prayed for, everything that we voted for, everything that we've been wanting, you are about to see on this show today. Because America is being put first. We're finally going to see increases like we've never seen before for our seniors. The DNC is broke and out of money, and we've caught them in the Biden mental decline scandal. Guys, today is a huge day. Check this out, guys, because I'm telling you, we're about to have some fun on this show. Check this out.
Decline. And it's important to note that the same people who are either helping cover it up or willfully ignoring it refuse to show up.
You know, the visual, sometimes it really is true. A picture speaks louder than words. It's worth 1,000 words. And here, all you have to do is look over at this side of the dais to see that the stone wall continues. I mean, from the party that lied to this nation for 4 years.
Thank you for those opening statements. The minority did not call any witnesses for today's hearing. They have chosen to ignore the hearing as they chose to ignore President Biden's mental decline.
Look, even if you lived under a rock, approximately, give or take, 0 people doubted Biden's cognitive decline. Even the people who denied it for 4 years, they knew. Okay, this hearing now is largely just kabuki theater because you can't undo damage that Biden did. But the reason I care about this is threefold. One, there are nearly 9,000 pardons. Are they legally valid? I mean, they called the lid for Biden nearly every day at 2 p.m. You want me to believe he actually signed 9,000 pardons knowingly? Right, sure. And 2, are the actions. Maybe things even signed into law that could be null and void if Biden wasn't all there. And 3, who's going to jail for all this?
Yes.
Who's going to jail for covering it up?
Put
a guy
him in
you're going
jail.
to hear from in just a minute, actually, noted the suspicious rise in the auto pen use.
The Oversight Project, of which I am a board member, has discovered that the Biden White House deployed an auto pen to affix President Biden's signature to pardons, prison commutations, executive orders, and presidential proclamations. The Oversight Project's research has found that the Biden White House first deployed the auto pen to affix President Biden's signature to a proclamation on day 5 of his administration, and that there were at least 3 different auto pen signatures in use throughout President Biden's tenure in the White House. We found that of the 51 clemency warrants issued during the Biden presidency, over half, 32 in total, were signed with an auto pen.
Because a bunch of people may have pardoned themselves. That's why we're curious. And uncovering...
Guys, again, like what you're hearing is the cover-up being exposed. And what I love even more, guys, is what I'm about to show you next. This is amazing. The DNC is in chaos. This is from the New York Times, guys. The DNC is in chaos and desperate for cash since USAID has been shut down, since Kamala Harris lost and nobody wanted her to be president, since Biden declined, cover-up, Democrats, nobody is giving them money. The USAID slush fund is out, and we're finally seeing accountability, guys, and it gets even better. All the numbers are being revised. Check this out. New analysis projects Social Security COLA for 2026 will be higher than previous estimates. They're having to recalculate everything because all that happened, guys, was a lie during the Biden administration. The jobs that came out, I have to show you this. Biden's 400,000 job gains exposed as a complete fabrication. Guys, all this stuff is coming out and showing everybody, guess what? We didn't have a president. Trump is here to fix things, and we're moving forward as MAGA. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, man, we got some good news for you today.
Actual cognitive decline could be the only mechanism to challenge those pardons. And the only venue to prove this would be to show evidence in a trial of someone who's received these pardons where the question is. I mean, did someone else sign or authorize this pardon? All the while leading us to the presidential not actually signing it?
The only situation I can think of that clearly would bring into question whether the pardon was valid, which was the first question, was if the government sought to prosecute someone and the person who reportedly received the pardon offered the pardon as a defense, then the government might say that, no, the pardon was invalid and therefore you weren't pardoned. You're still subject to prosecution.
Basically, charge them. That's the only way to test this. Did these people preemptively pardon themselves and their allies? I'm talking about like Hunter Biden and friends. And that is why Democrats have tried everything they could to obfuscate the reason for this hearing today. The Democrats that did show up, though, I think there were two of them, they did everything they could to not talk about the issues actually at hand.
Of course, these pay-to-play pardons are in addition to more than 1,500 January 6 rioters who received blanket pardon from President Trump, including 169 who violently assaulted law enforcement officials.
Have we had a discussion about climate change that is causing havoc throughout the world? But instead of this Congress debating those different points of view about oil exploration or about clean energy, about a good healthcare system, what we do is turn that debate into personal accusations.
Yeah, climate
Guys,
change.
you know why? They're always trying to deter. You want to see what the Democrats really want to put your money to use on? Listen to this breaking news that came out. As I'm telling you, the more that Doge continues today, because guys, they haven't gone nowhere. Doge is still there. They're still digging and finding fraud, waste, and abuse. After USAID learned it awarded $550 million DE grant to Coleman, court ordered it to give them another $800 million DEI grant. They were aware that there was a $500 million fraud involving Vistant by November 2023, announcing the guilty pleas shortly after. Despite this, USAID awarded the $800 million contract to the joint venture in August 2024, 1 year later, required by a judge. Imagine, they knew they were fraudulent, they got caught, they had guilty pleas, and they still got almost $1 billion later because the Democrat USAID slush fund did not care what they did with your money. Guys, this is why it's so important to codify the Doge laws, to cut out the fraud, waste, and abuse, to cut out USAID because of this stuff that is constantly happening. Where these federal judges, these activist judges awarding almost $1 billion because they can. Like, this is nuts what we are exposing.
You guys got up and walked right out after they gave their statements. Dick Durbin, though, he, as you saw, never disappoints.
But instead of exercising this constitutional oversight duty, my Republican colleagues are holding this hearing. Apparently, armchair diagnosing former President Biden is more important than the issues of grave concern which I have mentioned.
Pretty big grave concern. I'm not armchair quarterbacking anything. I'm not sure Dick Durbin understands the gravity of what happened in the last 4 years. The president may have not been the president. We're not armchair quarterbacking anything. One of Biden's most staunch cover-up mouthpieces, Jake Tapper, who, if you recall, booed Laura Trump off air just months before the election for insinuating Biden wasn't all there. Even he has now written a book interviewing hundreds of people that was read at this hearing. And instead of acknowledging that, Dick Durbin, before he walked out, decided to put a supercut together of Donald Trump, who's not the subject of this hearing, saying, "I don't know" to certain questions.
And we're going to make a question of cognitive ability. I think we should consider what happened in Alberta, Canada, just this week. Now I'd like you to see a short video that includes some other examples of cognitive ability.
I mean, he went on to show a bunch of times he would say, "I don't know" to a reporter. Okay, of course, they just played stupid clips of that, which maybe a president should be able to say they don't know if they don't actually know the answer to something. Even Jake Tapper admitted when he was called out by a fan that Trump doesn't have a cognitive issue, saying it was a personality issue he had.
Right now, I really don't like you. Why don't you go and examine, what is going on with Trump?
President Trump's behavior have more to do with personality than with cognitive decline?
Oh, I mean, at least he's...
Guys, when did you ever think that you would see Jake Tapper arguing with a woman on the phone, actually defending Trump and saying you have more of a problem with his policies and he's not really in cognitive decline, guys? If we're not seeing history in the making, things are turning around so big because of we've got to the money, guys. When you get to this right here, the DNC is in chaos and desperate for cash. When you get to the money and they don't have any more, they start changing. That's what is making them, trying to defend Trump in some form or fashion, trying to make it look like they're more centrist than they are left. All these left-wing media outlets like CNN, MSNBC, all of them trying to defend the Democratic Party, guys. But it gets even better, guys. And what I love is I just love the truth, guys. I just love bringing you the truth. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Oh, this is good stuff.
Somewhat rational about it, something that Dick Durbin and the other Democrats that actually showed up for at least a little while can't seem to quantify. Just because these people hate Donald Trump doesn't make him the things they say he is.
Yep.
But one of the things I found absolutely insane in this hearing, and this was presented by one of the legal experts called by Republicans because Democrats didn't call anyone, was potentially making a law that would verify the president was aware of the auto pen being used?
Congress can regularize the process by which the president's signature is affixed without his manual signature in a way that would be consistent with Congress's horizontal necessary and proper power. In particular, Congress can require that when the president indicates that his signature is to be affixed to a document without manual signature, that that decision by the president be documented and some individual record that the president has made that decision, and that be made part of the public record, say by being published in the Federal Register or the weekly compilation of presidential documents.
I mean, dude, that's the point of a signature, that it's supposed to be a recognition of the person holding that office. Imagine a society, this is where we are, so bureaucratic that we have someone testifying under oath that we should have an additional signature of somebody saying they witnessed the signature of the person actually signing. See, in the rest of the world, that's actually called a notary, which shouldn't be required for the president, because what goes in and out of the Oval Office to be signed should be monitored. I mean, could you imagine the notion of that? Oh, Mr. President, can you sign this bill to, I don't know, fund the United States government? Oh yeah, we can't do it here. We got to go down to the local bank to get it notarized. I mean, seriously? We should have faith in the system, but the fact that we don't right now is exactly why this hearing is needed. And Josh Hawley summed up why.
So right now, today, I call on President Biden, former President Biden and his staff, release the documents. You have them, you know you have them, release them. If what you did is legal, and if you're really not embarrassed about it, and you think it was totally constitutional, release the paper flow. Show us the documents where the president authorized the use of the pen for every single pardon and clemency and stay application. Let's see it.
But yet, still all the Dems are saying this is legit.
Guys, again, too, what I just got to show you this stuff because, again, the Democrats are digging a deeper and deeper hole every single day. Elise Stefanik, we love her. And I've got some really good stuff to show you about her today. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul announced the state of New York will pay $50 million in lawyers' fees for migrants. $50 million of New Yorkers' hard-earned taxpayer dollars are being used for illegal migrants' legal fees against ICE. You cannot make this stuff up. Guys, is this treason that you would use taxpayer dollars to fight for people that are not even citizens against the federal government in deporting these illegal immigrants? I think that's like treason. It's, to me, either borderline treason or it is treason that you would spend all this money. And what I want to show you is it's not just happening here, guys. It's not just happening in New York, it's happening in Colorado, it's happening in blue states like California, in Oregon. All this is happening under the radar. Nobody gets to hear it. You don't see it on the mainstream, but we're showing you it. This is why it's so important to get the right people in leadership. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, I want to say thank you so much, Larry Pickett, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, April made me donate. I love it. Thank you so much, Fred Samuel, for the super chat. He said, it's great hearing the Democrats are bankrupt. And Gregosaurus, thank you so much. Midnight Cry 1200, thank you for upgrading. He said, True Life News bringing it. Let's go. Gregosaurus going to be the new OG of the channel. I love it. Let's go. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys, because, again, the next step around the new indictments, the new bills passed, and the new investigations is so good.
Competent, and he was most involved president ever. and will sit there and use that as a justification to not have to show these documents that are, in fact, those of legitimate signatures. Ted Cruz absolutely nailed it.
For all of their strutting about, protesting that they support democracy, not a one of them gave a damn about democracy when they pulled Biden off the ballot and dropped Kamala Harris in without a single Democrat primary voter voting for him.
Boom.
And you know what? Not a single Democrat is here today because not a single one of them gives a damn about the fact that they lied to the American people for 4 years.
So I guess the only thing to do is charge these people. Hunter Biden was in the middle of a trial or already convicted of tax fraud, drug charges, gun charges, not to mention the investigation into foreign influence. Carry out the remainder of the trials. Sentence him on the things he was already convicted of. That's how you break the dam, because now they will have to enter into evidence that the pardon is real, with the strongest piece of evidence against these pardons from Biden himself, when he said he wouldn't pardon his son ever. And they don't have to, if they can't refute that, well, then the pardons, I don't think, stand. And we can charge Mark Milley for colluding with China. We can charge Fauci for crimes against humanity. We can charge the entire January 6th committee for lying, deleting evidence, and perpetuating the greatest cover-up on the American people since it poisoned and killed thousands of people during Prohibition. And this goes for all the other mass pardons in Biden's last days in office. What prosecutor or attorney general out there has the spine to do it?
Guys, again, and this is so big. Trump is literally so fed up right now, but what I love is that he's exposing and calling out everybody. He said too late Jerome Powell is costing our country hundreds of billions of dollars. He truly is one of the dumbest and most destructive people in government, and the Fed board is complicit. Europe has had 10 cuts, talking about the interest rates. We've had none. Our inflation right now, guys, is 1.4%. Everything that we're seeing now, the economy's doing great. The stock market's doing great. Inflation is doing great. Unemployment is doing great. But yet there are people that are exposing themselves that when it's perfect, it's the perfect time to, guess what? Drop interest rates and do the right thing. They're not doing it because they have a separate agenda. Trump's calling them out. And guys, what you're about to hear next, it gets even deeper, because when the FBI, the DOJ are cracking down on all these fraudulent people, we're finally seeing the arrest coming, guys. Check this out.
Story last night, what Cash put out, because as you know, War Room, John Solomon, Just the News, John Solomon Report, War Room, Posobiec, Charlie Kirk, even Lindell, but so many of us hammered this day in and day out, particularly those of us that are very focused on the Chinese Communist Party. Tell the audience what Cash delivered last night and what the reality is here, because this is about as jaw-dropping as you can get, sir.
Guys, and let me tell you this, when Bannon says that it's jaw-dropping, guys, you know this is some big news you're about to hear.
Yeah, let's set the stage. Let's remind everybody that in December of 2020, 60 Minutes aired a piece with the head of the Homeland Security Cybersecurity Division saying there were no foreign intrusions in the 2020 election. It was a perfectly clean election, he said. I think it was Chris Krebs was his name. We now know that to have been a false proclamation. First, we know a year later in 21, a bunch of Iranians were indicted in Manhattan on charges that they interfered in the election and hacked into a state database to obtain voter IDs and use them in a mal-influence operation against the American election. Now we know there was a second country that was more deeply involved in meddling into the election. The FBI in August 2020, so 3.5 months before the votes were cast that put Joe Biden in the presidency, that FBI believed that China had begun a mass operation to produce fake U.S. driver's licenses, move them to the United States, and have Chinese citizens here on our soil, both legally and illegally, go out and get fake mail-in ballots and vote to try to elect Joe Biden. By the way, the FBI intelligence says this Chinese operation from a Chinese intelligence source that the FBI was handling was designed to help Joe Biden beat Donald Trump. It's very important. That was the intention.
Again, guys, I'm telling you, I feel like by the end of this year, we're going to be able to definitively prove the 2020 election was rigged, Trump truly won, and this is going to change elections forever because 100% accountability will be put in voter ID because of all the news that's coming out. And what's even worse is the news coming out that we had malicious actors like Christopher Wray that were covering up not only Biden losing, but also all the interference from the other foreign countries. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Intelligence was strong enough to send out to all of the intelligence agencies, and then a few days later, it was called back on the auspices that they wanted to re-interview the source. Now, the source was re-interviewed a second time, stuck to his story. In the meantime, the Customs and Border Patrol, Border Protection Agency, intercepted 20,000 of these fake driver's IDs, essentially corroborating the intelligence. But the Biden administration, the Chris Wray FBI, they simply covered this up. And for 5 years, we were kept in the dark until this intelligence document was sent last night to Chuck Grassley from Kash Patel.
No. We weren't kept in the dark, brother. You went after this.
That's true.
It was a bald-faced lie, was it not? They
That's right.
lied
We were
about
lied to.
this and covered it up.
Yeah.
They were lying.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, you're
I just
right.
want to make
We
sure I
were-
get that because you went after this. Every people, because we were called nutcases, kooks, conspiracy theorists. You know, under every bed we got a Chinese Communist Party member. All of that, right? And it turns out we were 100% accurate about directionally. We knew something was up there. Is that essentially what the story is this morning?
Yeah, there's another very important thing to keep in mind with this. This intelligence shows that China saw mail-in ballots as an enormous vulnerability during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Golly.
And our enemies look for weaknesses, not for strengths. They don't look for the hardest thing to do. They look for the easiest thing to do to us. That is a warning sign. Now, lots has happened since 2020, and with all of the voter ID and other things, we've tightened up laws in several states. And where we've tightened up the laws in the states, people vote more because they have greater confidence in the system.
Yes.
But China saw this as an exploitable operation, and I think that should concern all of us. And in any state that doesn't have their mail-in voting to the proximal best security measures, there's a foreign enemy looking to exploit it right now. That's what these documents show.
That's what he kept saying. We're not machine guys. We're mail-in ballot guys. It's not that the machines don't have tremendous vulnerabilities. John Solomon, you more than anybody have shown those. It's that the mail-in ballots were just sitting. You could see that was teed up by what happened in 2020.
Guys, and what I have to show you here, guys, is again, it's one thing right after another. The Democratic Party right here, Democratic National Committee may now need to borrow money to pay its bills because it's broke. The USAID was shut down and now the DNC is out of money. They not only exploited mail-in ballots during the 2020 election, we showed you yesterday that Biden, the day after, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pull this back over. The day after Trump won the 2024 election, literally signed and pushed through. I got it right here, guys. I bring the receipts. This is, you can go look this up. This is all valid. This is from Mike Benz. They pushed through, look at the top right-hand corner, November 6, 2024. The day after the election, look at the bottom left in yellow, potential award amount, $1 trillion. They knew that if Donald Trump was going to get in, he was going to start cleaning house, clean up USAID, cleaning up the NGOs. That's what Trump ran on. He promised it. And this right here is the cover-up being exposed. And now the DNC is out of money. Now they have to borrow to pay the bills. Every single time, guys, we are turning the corner. We are finding more and more fraud, waste, and abuse. We're finding more lies. We're finding more exposure that the Democratic Party, they've been running a scam on the taxpayers, on the American citizens for a long time. And there are, I want to say this too, Republicans that have been doing the dang same thing to the American taxpayers. And that's why we need MAGA 100%. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, we are bringing the receipts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Exported. John, where do people go to get all your breaks? They're drawn into that have no purpose. We spent $9 trillion over there, $7 trillion in Iraq and $2 trillion in Afghanistan. With thousands of dead and tens of thousands of wounded and people with PTSD committing suicide every day. And massive amount of debt. that we have to pay on every single day, and we'll always have to pay on because we're never going to pay 1 penny of the principal back. So when we're asked to do it again, we have to make a decision as a country. And yes, President Trump's the commander-in-chief, and he's going to work through this and decide. But he knows, because he looks at the history of Nixon and Johnson and others, Bush, that they have to bring the country along. And these things are much easier to start than to finish. So that's why, again, the Israelis should finish what they started. I keep hearing they have this capability. It may take them longer. You had Yoram Mazani on here, good man. They'll take them longer, but then put your pilots at risk. Go for it. Loosen it up. If it takes you longer, hey, if it takes you a couple of weeks, big deal. They're not going to build a bomb in a couple of weeks. Take your time. Do it. If you got to send commandos in, send commandos in. Why do we have to clean up your mess? Oh, because it's going to hit, a ballistic missile is going to hit San Francisco. That's not going to happen, and everybody knows it's not going to happen. That's just fear-mongering from people that don't respect you enough to actually sit there and try to say, hey, let's reason this thing through. Here's the reason. And then to question your patriotism, particularly people who never served their country a day in their life, done nothing but suck off the tit of this country and veterans. And you're going to question people's patriotism? Is that what you're going to do? Or question someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene that's worked her tail off for the MAGA movement, gone all over the country, done events time and time and time again. You're going to question her, said she's a pipsqueak from Georgia? Who are you? Anybody that took a paycheck from Fox in 21, Murdoch Senate, we're going to make Trump a non-person. You sat there and you ran Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and all of them that are never going to be president, never going to win national elections, ever.
God, jeez.
Just like the collection of clowns you put up in 2016, and yes, they were by and large not with the program.
Guys, I'm telling you, people are, I mean, the filter is off. We are getting so much data, guys. Look at this right here. And you can't tell me, guys, again, when it comes to our kids, when it comes to the next generations, this is why it's so important. When we send our kids to school, how important the teachers are and what they teach needs to be managed. Look at the campaign contributions from the American Federation of Teachers to Democrats. Since 1994, all the way up until 2022, over average 99% to Democrats. You want to talk about all the way that they've been trying to manipulate our country, control the kids, control the next outcomes? Why do you think so many young people are Democratic liberals, activists? Like it's just all been in the works for years, and we're finally exposing everybody. Everything that we've been seeing, even this right here, guys, I have to show you everything. This is from the World Health Organization. Look at this. Flu cases, 2017, 29 million. 2017 to 2018, 45 million. 2018 to 2019, 36 million. 2019 to 2020, 38 million. 2020 to 2021, 0.0015 million. But look at the COVID cases. Look at that. I mean, guys, where did the flu go? Everything that I bring you on this channel, guys, I'm bringing you the truth. I'm showing you the receipts. I'm showing you the facts that when it comes to where you get your news from, you got to bring the receipts. And we bring the receipts. We want to show you the truth and make sure that you are fully informed. Thank you so much, Pamela Conley, for the super chat. Let's go. Thank you so much for the t-shirt. Yes, I got it. I love it. Thank you so much. Fred Samuel, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, we need everyone to vote straight red for MAGA candidates in the midterms. Let's take our country back. I love it. Y'all show Fred, guys, some love in the chat. Show them some love. And thank you so much, Ricker, for the super chat. He said, love your pursuit of accuracy and enthusiasm. Thank you so much. Y'all show Ricker some love in the chat, because what you're about to hear next is 100% accountability. The Democrats have nothing to stand on for what you're about to see next, and so many things are being reversed, and so much good news is coming from what you're about to see. Check this out.
Thanks to all the witnesses for being here. You know, the visual, sometimes it really is true. A picture speaks louder than words. It's worth 1,000 words. And here, all you have to do is look over at this side of the dais to see that the stone wall continues. I mean, from the party that lied to this nation for 4 years, let's just take a look at some of the things that our colleagues said on the Democrat side when their own Justice Department was concluding that Joe Biden, who, let's not forget, illegally took classified documents and kept them in his garage, in his freezer. I mean, Lord knows where. He just certainly didn't know. Their own Justice Department interviewed the guy and concluded he could not form the requisite mental state to stand trial. He did not have the mental ability to stand trial. And what did our Democrat colleagues say? Vice President Harris says, oh, no, the way that the Hur report characterized the president is so wrong. The president's demeanor is totally fine. Senator Smith, what the Hur said about the president not remembering his son's death, so unfair. Senator Kaine said this is grandstanding. Senator Fetterman said it's just cheap shots. You had other senators saying, Senator Ossoff in February of 2024, saying, and I quote, I found the president to be sharp, focused, impressive, formidable, and effective. In June 2024, Congressman Jeffries insists Biden was, and I'm quoting again, incredibly strong, forceful, and decisive. Where are they now? They don't want to answer for any of those quotes now. They lied to us for 4 years.
Guys, this is the literally Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on the Biden cover-up. And not one Democrat came to defend Biden. What does that tell you about their agenda, about their confidence in what happened? It is 100% complete cover-up.
And we know they lied. They know they lied. It's why they're not here. They don't want to answer a single question. They can't bear to show their faces in public. And you know what? It's right that they can't do that because the bill of goods they sold this country, they walked this country right into one of the greatest constitutional crises of our history, And now they are afraid to even show up to admit it. These are people, and this is a party that cannot be trusted with power, that cannot be trusted to tell the truth, the most basic truth. They all changed their tunes after Joe Biden debated President Trump and the whole world could see he couldn't even form a sentence. That running this guy for president again is a form of elder abuse. My, how they changed their tunes after that. Now they can't even show up in public to talk about it. This is embarrassing. But worse than that, it's dangerous. It is dangerous for this country. Mr. Wold, I want to pick up on something you just said a second ago about the OLC and their opinion as to when an auto pen can be used. Just be clear about this. Auto pen means not signed by the person. Auto pen is basically push of a button and it gets signed. OLC says only when the president specifically directs it and it is under his direct authority. Do I basically have that right?
That's correct, Senator.
So based on the facts we know, did that happen in this case with all of the pardons and clemencies and other giveaways that Joe Biden signed?
Assuming that the Biden White House complied with sort of traditional practice of presidential administrations and that there was record keeping either from the staff secretary or others, there should be records to indicate either through covering memorandum or briefing books where the president would have signed his signature authorizing this decision. None of that has come forward. That would be very easy to dispel some of these concerns. And I think what we're...
So guys, listen to this. You still, even if Biden... the auto pen is used, you still have to have a signature from the president authorizing the use of the auto pen signature tool. None of that's come forward. Why? Because it doesn't exist. Guys, we are finally, these whistleblowers are coming through and letting us know what the heck actually happened. This is where I told you in the beginning, the reverse of a lot of spending is already happening because of what you're hearing today. The reverse of spending, the reverse of the policies that were put forth by the Biden administration, and it's good news for those on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Look at this. Because of everything that's happening, new analysis projects Social Security's COLA for 2026 will be higher than previous estimates. This is a huge, huge win because they cannot provide any evidence. They're finding out that all the stuff that they showed us was fake because all these jobs that came through, guys, look at this. The Bidens 400,000 job gains exposed as a complete fabrication. This contradicting reports of the 399,000 job increase and showing a 1,000 private sector job decline instead. All this is showing us is that what was happening? It was a cover-up. The numbers were wrong, so now they're reevaluating everything, and our seniors are going to see an increase. A lot of things are going to change because of the new numbers that have been put into the system because of all the evidence brought forward. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Want to give some love to Vegas Introvert. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. #1 fan. I love it. And thank you so much, Bruce Rice, for gifting 10 True Life News memberships. Show Bruce some love in the chat, guys, if you got a free membership from our brother Bruce. Listen to this.
Seeing here is really the auto pen is best understood as a sort of a tool of executive convenience.
Hold on just a second. I just want you just said something very important. I want to emphasize that. So what you're saying is that there should be, for every time that Biden authorized the auto pen,
a signature.
There should be a record of that. And he should have had to have registered his personal consent to using the auto pen. Is that basically correct?
I think to put it another way, I would say in the policy paper flow to the Oval Office, there should be a record of what documents are presented to the president when he gave his assent to the actions that are listed in those documents, whether it's a judicial nomination or it's a statutory response to Congress.
Well, I think the answer is we need to get those documents. And I just say to our friends in the media over here, you guys need to be asking for those documents, and we need to be asking for them, Mr. Chairman. We need to see those documents. And the president, the former president now, could certainly choose to release them. I'm sure they're part of his personal papers, right, Mr. Wolf?
That's correct. And the first place to start would be the staff secretary's office under President Biden.
Oh, here's the trail. If you want to know, if you want an answer to the question, did Joe Biden actually assent to the use of the auto pen and all, you think of all the people he pardoned, he granted clemency to, murderers, drug dealers, child rapists. Let's find out, did he actually authorize it? There should be a record of it, is what we've learned today. Thank you for that testimony, Mr. Wold. There should be a record of it. So this is a binary question. It's not, oh, we don't know, gee, it's hard to say. No, actually, we can find out. So right now, today, I call on President Biden, former President Biden and his staff, release the documents. You have them, you know you have them, release them. If what you did is legal, and if you're really not embarrassed about it, and you think it was totally constitutional, release the paper flow. Show us the documents where the president authorized the use of the pen for every single pardon and clemency and stay application. Let's see it. Let's see all of it. And if you won't do it, we should subpoena those documents, and we should find out the truth of who was really running the White House, because I think we can see it was not Joe Biden. Thank you all for being here today. Mr. Wold, thanks for your testimony.
Guys, again, all these steps are being taken to expose what we knew all along, guys. And again, more and more exposure, guys. Look at this. This news that just keeps dropping every single day. The DOJ is suing Kentucky over policy offering discounted college tuition for illegal aliens. Every single day, we are dropping new news that when it comes to the illegals, when it comes to putting them in a priority over Americans, it's coming from everywhere, guys. And we're showing you everything just like this. That New York State Governor Kathy Hochul announced the state of New York will pay $50 million in lawyers' fees for migrants. Well, where's that money coming from? Because I promise you it ain't coming from Hochul. It's coming from the taxpayer. And this is, again, blue state policies always put everybody else first before Americans. And that's why what you're about to see next, guys, this is another pit bull coming out of the works to fight for America first, baby. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Listen to this.
The section on Zionism grossly misrepresented a foundational aspect of Jewish identity. At its core, Zionism is simply the belief that the Jewish people have a right to self-determination and homeland in Israel.
You brought attention to this story on X, writing that Kathy Hochul and New York Democrats own this vile anti-Semitism on NYS Regent exam. A total immoral abomination here. This raging anti-Semitism in New York is appeased and promoted by Kathy Hochul and her failing anti-Semitic New York Democrat Party. Enough is enough. And of course, we bring this up because your name, Congresswoman, has been floated as a potential candidate for governor here in New York. How would you handle the situation differently than those currently in power?
Well, we have to have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism in the state of New York. We have the largest population of Jewish residents out of any other state in the nation. And what we have seen is a skyrocketing of anti-Semitic slurs, crimes, hate crimes, assaults against Jewish individuals, Jewish families. We need higher security for our synagogues. We need a zero tolerance. Or look at what the New York State Assembly did under Democrat leadership. They refused to vote on a resolution recognizing the horrific day of October 7th. They pulled that. The New York Democrats did that, and that is under Kathy Hochul. So we will have zero tolerance, and we certainly will not have tolerance for a New York City mayor that is at their core anti-Semitic. So that is what Kathy Hochul has embraced. She owns this. If you look at Jewish voters in the state of New York, they are increasingly voting Republican because they know that Republicans stand strongly with Israel, that Republicans are the leader, and I've been the leader of that charge to combat, condemn, and zero out anti-Semitism, whether it's on college campuses or on our streets and communities in New York State.
I want to move over, if we can, staying with Governor Hochul, but moving away from anti-Semitism to migrant crime or to those coming here illegally. There was a bit of a back and forth with you and the governor on Capitol Hill that we'll be able to play. I just wanted to show this and maybe get your reaction today to this. Not only that, but the slush fund that's going to be built there for those here illegally to fight these battles in court. Watch this.
Rapes of young girls, beatings of NYPD cops by illegals who are here under Kathy Hochul's failed policies, burning New Yorkers alive. This is Kathy Hochul's New York. It's one of the many reasons why you're hemorrhaging support from hardworking New York families.
These are horrific crimes, and they're heartbreaking.
They're horrific crimes that are committed on your watch. You signed this executive order on your first day in office. You signed it again and again this January. We deserve a governor who stands up for law-abiding New Yorkers, doesn't put illegals first, but actually puts New Yorkers first. I appreciate
rather than going after the viral moment. I suggest you look at the facts.
I'm standing up for New Yorkers. No. Rather than addressing the illegals in New York, you are prioritizing your far-left sanctuary state policies, which you put in place with executive orders.
And not only that, the $50 million that is going to go towards legal funds for those here illegally to fight their court battles, that from Governor Hochul as well. Your response to that?
My response is we need a governor who puts New Yorkers first, and Kathy Hochul puts illegals first and New Yorkers last. And let's be clear about the $50 million slush fund. Those are taxpayer dollars of hardworking New York families. And the fact that Kathy Hochul wants to use our hard-earned taxpayer dollars to bail out illegals, New Yorkers, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, that is not common sense. That is antithetical to the type of leadership that we should have. This is the same day that Kathy Hochul ran to the side of a Democrat mayoral candidate who assaulted an ICE law enforcement officer. And rather than supporting our law enforcement officers, Kathy Hochul supports the assaulter. This is about putting criminals first. And as you saw, further clips of that hearing, she did not acknowledge that a woman was burned alive on a subway by an illegal in New York State because of Kathy Hochul's sanctuary state laws. She did not acknowledge that a 15-year-old minor was raped in Albany County by an illegal here because of Kathy Hochul. She did not acknowledge a 5-year-old that was raped or molestations that happened on Long Island. She owns these sanctuary state policies. She signed 3 executive orders continuing those, and New Yorkers are sick of it. It is why her polls are plummeting because, again, regardless of your party affiliation, we deserve a governor who has strong leadership and puts New Yorkers first.
Guys, let me tell you this. If we don't bring the dang receipts that there is so much craziness that is happening across all these big blue states, they're about to lose their federal funding. Once they lose their federal funding, these states are about to break. People are going to start voting more red. Why? Because they're tired of seeing their money, their hard-earned money, being given to people that are not even citizens. But what they're also tired of is what you're seeing on the screen. USAID and the government were aware of the $550 million fraud involving Vistant, which is a company by November 2023, 2023, announcing the guilty pleas shortly after. Despite this, USAID awarded the $800 million contract to the joint venture in August 2024, 1 year later, required by a judge. It's all a big scheme. It's all these elitists, the lobbyists, it's all these federal judges working together to do what? To get rich. Why do you think they work in the public sector? They make $175,000 a year, but yet they're worth $100 million. Because of this stuff, like what you're seeing on the screen. And we're finally exposing every bit of it, guys. This is true justice for America first, baby. I love it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Angela Rourke, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. So here's to the new shirts, including female shirts, V-neck, to say America first. Let's go. Need the artist of the painting behind you. Oh, Woodbury Hill Studio. To paint so there's no copyright with the eagle and the flag. I love it. We are working on our next set of shirts, guys, that we're going to be unveiling soon. Thank you so much for your support. B1 Sly One, thank you so much for the super chat. Said lots of new faces in the chat today. Glad to see you like Joel. Drop receipts and the truth. Y'all show B1 Sly One and Angela some love in the chat, guys, because again, we keep dropping the receipts. This is what matters most, is that you see the truth of what's happening behind the scenes, things you won't see on mainstream media, guys. That's why we're here to serve you. If you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family, hitting that subscribe button, and staying with us so that you can get the full truth. Listen to this.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, I want to try to separate policy and politics for a second. I know it's hard to do around this place, but I thought Senator Cornyn made a very good point in his opening remarks. I think Senator Schmidt made the same point that the policy here is very important. And I want to ask you your opinion on the policy. Professor, tell me briefly, I know you came to talk about auto pens, but tell me briefly about the 25th Amendment.
Well, Senator, the 25th Amendment provides the process by which to implement a principle that's in the original Constitution, which is when the president's unable to exercise the powers and duties of the presidency, somebody else exercises them, starting with the vice president. The 25th Amendment sets up a process by which, if there's a question whether the president is able to do that, the vice president and the heads of the executive departments can temporarily basically put the vice president in as acting president, and then Congress ultimately decides the question.
Well, the standard, is it not, Professor? The standard is disability of the president. Is that correct?
Unable to exercise the powers and duties.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's what I would like your opinion on, and the opinion of these two gentlemen here. You have all been staffers. You've worked in government. You've had a boss. In Mr. Spicer's case, his boss was the President of the United States. Let's suppose the president, you were using your experience as a staffer. You were working for the president, any president. Hypothetically a president. And let's suppose the president started talking like he was from outer space. Let's suppose the president became fatigued very easily. He couldn't finish a sentence without taking a nap. Let's suppose the president, he was just physically in bad shape, mentally and physically. Mentally, he may or may not have, you're not a doctor, neurodegenerative disease, but physically you can see you could bake a Thanksgiving turkey and the time it takes him to walk across the stage. What do you think, as a member of his staff, what do you think is your moral obligation to say, wait a minute, the president can't do the job anymore? I know you're loyal folks. You believe in your president, this president, whichever president. I'm speaking hypothetically. You're loyal. You want to be a good staffer. but you also have a moral obligation. How do you reach that decision, Professor? And I'll go to each of you.
Senator, I think the first thing you would have to do in a situation like that is exercise your own judgment. How serious is this problem? Because everybody has moments when they lose focus, it happens. But if somebody thinks this is a really serious problem, I think the first thing to do is the most difficult, which is to say to the president, because the 25th Amendment also provides that the president can say, I'm unable to exercise the powers and duties of my office.
And suppose the president
That would be extremely
says,
difficult, but I think it should be
look,
done.
trust me, I can. And it's clear to you that he has neurodegenerative disease and he can't. What do you do? Do you have a moral obligation as a staff member to go to the American people and say, we've got a problem here, it may cost me my career?
Senator, I think at that point you have an obligation to talk to the vice president, who is in charge of the Section 4 process under the 25th Amendment.
What about you, Mr. Wald? You have a moral obligation. I understand you want it to go away, you want to work it out with him, but you can't. When does a staffer have a moral obligation to stand up and say he can't be president anymore, she can't be?
Well, Senator, the 25th Amendment only works if individual staffers or officers of the United States exercise that kind of moral judgment.
That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think always, as the professor said, I mean, the presidency is an enormous burden, so it would be not one instance, it would have to be several instances of a failure to exercise judgment.
How do you make that decision? You're the staffer, I get it.
Yeah, well, I think it begins with prayer, of course, but after that, I think it's conversation with other staffers, and if you're unable to confront the president or to raise the issue with the vice president, you should resign.
What about you, Mr. Fleischer? Do you stand up and do it and tell the truth and run, or do you have a greater obligation to your boss?
Well, luckily, I didn't have that problem. But I would say that you have a moral obligation as an American, as a citizen, as a human being. If the leader of the free world cannot conduct themselves to make the decisions that are critical to this country and to the world, you absolutely have a moral obligation to follow the chain of command. And if they don't act, then you must.
Do either of you gentlemen disagree with that? Professor?
Senator, I think acting means talking to the people who have the responsibility or in a position under the Constitution to do something.
You don't
about the
agree with
situation.
Mr. Spicer?
Senator, I'm not sure exactly what he has in mind, other than talking to the people who can make the decision.
I'm just trying to ask, you've all been staffers. Suppose you go to everybody you're supposed to go to, and they all say, my advice to you is to shut up. Do you have a moral obligation as a staffer to say, look, this person can't be president of the United States. It isn't policy. He physically can't do it.
Senator Kennedy, it's not a question of whether a staffer has that obligation. It's whether you as an American have that obligation, and I think each and every one of us does.
Yeah, but you can see it, and an American can't. Professor, what do you think?
Senator, I think there are situations under which someone in that position should speak publicly, but I also think that the views of a single individual who is not the person who is constitutionally responsible for taking measures should be considered by the public as just the views of of one individual who has some information about the subject.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Tillis.
Guys, I'm telling you, we are finally seeing some dang accountability, and it's beautiful. Listen to this, because no matter what, as we move forward, people just are siding with Trump like never before. Even with what Tucker Carlson said, guys, this is huge because Tucker Carlson says, and many others, hey, we shouldn't get in the war. We should stay out of Israel, Iran. We need to focus still on putting America first. Let me know your thoughts. Are you for getting in the Israel-Iran war? What should be done? But check this out, because the polling says Trump is right.
Trump stays quite high.
And we keep on monitoring where Republican support is for the possibility of strikes. What's the latest you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, look, what we saw, what we see in the data, and I've looked at a number of different polls. They've asked it different ways, but the clear majority of Republicans in any poll that you look, GOP on U.S. airstrikes against Iran, if Iran's pursuing nuclear arms, you see it here. The Republican Party, again, is with Donald Trump, 69% in this particular poll from the Chicago Council that was taken a few months ago, compared to 27% who are opposed. But again, even if you look at the other polling data, it all points in the same direction. Republicans are with Donald Trump on this particular issue, and they're with Donald Trump at large. And when you go against Donald Trump, you go down.
Aaron, thank you very much.
If you go against Donald Trump, you go down. Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much. Tijuana Border Jumper for the super chat. Let's go. Said anyone holding office from the smallest town to the president of the United States needs to lose all benefits if caught in any fraud to we the people, baby. I love it. And thank you so much, Deanna Barkman, for gifting 5 True Life News memberships. If you got a free membership from Deanna, show her some love in the chat, guys. Growing the True Life News family, I love it. Want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. We are so grateful that you support us every single day. If you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining our family here at True Life News so that we can serve you. Guys, that's what my job is, to bust my butt, bring you the best show every single day, things that you normally wouldn't see on mainstream media, and build a show of value so that you can learn, you can see the receipts, and you can be informed. Thank you so much for liking and sharing our videos. Thank you to all of our members of the channel and to everybody that is given. Remember, in just a couple of days, on the 22nd of every single month, we donate live on stream to a local charity. And this month, we're going to be donating to a local homeless veterans charity and changing lives, guys. We partner with you. And we don't have to do this, but I want to do this because I want this channel to be known for being a giving channel and giving back as we continue to bring not only the truth, but we change lives. I want to give some love to Robert Stearns, Larry Pickett, Fred Samuel, Midnight Cry, Gregosaurus Galoris. I like your name. Pamela Conley, Fred Samuel, Ricker, Vegas Introvert, Angela Rourke, B1 Sly One, Tijuana Border Jumper, Deanna Barkman, Googly Bear 00. Let's go. He said Trump wanted to deal with Iran his first term, but was talked out of it by his so-called staff members. Turns out Trump was right again, baby. I love it. Y'all show them some love in the chat. Thank you so much for your support and liking and sharing our videos. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.